Now this, we're in with some luck today, because this could be the shortest one ever. I've got two to read, but I thought I'd read them. So yesterday the big announcement was that I'm not taking tyrosine anymore after months upon months of taking it. And I felt fine when I was saying that, but then after I'd said it and uploaded it and stuff, I actually felt myself feeling maybe down, but then I was like, oh, is this the placebo, the nocebo placebo anymore? The nocebo would be, anyway. It's like an anti-nocebo. But I've started to feel fine towards the end of the day and feel kind of fine now. Don't know if I feel better than I did on tyrosine. I just don't know if it... I don't know if it made any difference either way. Well, I don't know if it makes much difference either way, apart from just how you're thinking about it. So we'll see if I can stay the way I am now, off the tyrosine, then I'll just continue not taking it. But if I, I'll just see. Okay. So I've just got to the sympathetic joy chapter in Lost Connections, and I think I like it. If it works and it's practicable, which obviously people would suggest that it is, which I tend to find out for myself, then it couldn't be much more in accordance with both what I have defined as good (open brackets) symbiotic and positive sum (close brackets), and an almost direct manifestation of egoism through selflessness, of egoism through selflessness, or at the very least perceived selflessness. So yeah, I think it's pretty much the main problem I've always had with my own epiphany of... I'm not sure it is egoism, because then you're kind of... Because people... I think this is just a language barrier problem, really, but the ego, if you can lose the ego, well, then that's not what I'm talking about. So that definition of ego, if that's what you're talking about with egoism, then no. That's why maybe self-interest theory is a better term, which is what Derek Parfit used and tried to rebut, but I kind of rebut his rebuttal, I think, but obviously I'm not as smart as Derek Parfit. But maybe let's just call it Ollieism. But then it suggests that everyone should be doing what I want. So, I'm not sure egoism is the right word, because people have definitions of ego that doesn't quite work and assume that you're talking about that. Self-interest theory doesn't really work, because people will also use the word self and say that you can lose that. Whatever it is, it can't be lost, the thing I'm talking about. So if meditation, to a point where you lose your sense of self or ego, is better than not having that, then you should do that. And the other people's definition of ego, if that's what they were assuming I was talking about in egoism, then obviously it wouldn't be better to lose it. Right. Anyway, so my main problem has always been, when I had this epiphany, well, the main problem was that I just didn't feel good, and I didn't seem to be able to make myself feel good. Tyrosine eventually did that, but let's just say it's placebo. Yeah, okay, never mind. So the real problem has been, the subject of the book is the psychosocial, biological, I can't remember which order they come in, theory of depression and stuff, right? And I think you're kind of pushed towards the biological, right, which is what he's talking about in the book, and I kind of went down that route a bit with the pharmacological route. But I think I was also down the cycle, like when I had my epiphany, what I needed, and I think I kind of recognised this, was a psychological change, because it's once you realise it's a kind of a state. I talked about how it's a matter of perspective and changing your state of mind. You need a method of doing that, and apparently, well, I thought about this for a while. Psilocybin and LSD and DMT would be one route to achieving that, but I have a kind of agreement not to ever try drugs like that. So, well, just try drugs. I probably would quite like to do it, but then I don't know. I think I can probably get if it's the only way to get there, then I wouldn't find that particularly satisfying. I don't think that would be right. I don't know. I don't think that's likely true. That the only way to get there would be through psychedelics, but we'll see. But yeah, even just knowing that something like the loving kindness meditation is possible, and I'd had heard of it before and didn't really like the sound of it because it sounded so poncy. But the idea of being able to alter your psychological perception of things, that works for me, at least hypothetically. I think that's what we need a bit. And it's so that how much it aligns with the positive sum thing that I keep going on about. I've been saying symbiosis more than positive sum, but I think the positive sum aspect is more beneficial, or a more helpful way of looking at it. And Gestalt, if anyone ever, that word's a really good word, Gestalt. I heard that in my Da Vinci book. Yeah, get a big old Gestalt of all conscious creatures, all humans for starters, and then all conscious creatures, and man will all be bloody living the dream. Yeah. Oh, I managed to make that one go on for 6.5 minutes. Something I genuinely can't remember if I've covered before, and in fact should probably know if it's in fact covered by the original definition, is whether there is a different type of placebo effect, and if this has a different name, where the drug in question does have an effect, but not directly the one it sets out to have. But the fact that the subject is able to sense some physiological sensation adds credence to the effective placebo, which I change that name later, and effective placebo being a placebo that does have an effect, so not just a sugar pill, but has some kind of effect. Anyway, and could even redirect the therapeutic benefits. Of course, this would just mean in a placebo extent, and could even redirect the therapeutic benefits. Of course, this would just mean in a placeboic sense. Nice word. To the target ailment. The standard placebo effect occurs when people expect to derive some benefit from medication. And so a sugar pill, just the idea, just thinking that they're taking a drug is enough to make them feel like they're or actually is enough to give them a therapeutic effect. The active placebo, I think that's a better term, that I'm describing, would have some undeniable physiological effect that lends credence to the efficacy of the drug to the patient, and it is then the patient's interpretation that causes it to apparently be targeting a certain area. And I think this would... So for people who are aware of the placebo effect, maybe being aware of the placebo effect as a possibility reduces the chance of actually benefiting from the placebo effect, right? But active placebo, so let's say you have a drug that makes your body tingle, that does something that you notice, right? So even if it's something that you don't necessarily notice, but you just feel a slight change, right? You take a drug, and instead of it just being a sugar pill, and you haven't, just thinking, you become aware of your body a bit more, right? Because you're looking for what the drug's doing. But let's say you take a drug that has the sole intention of it does some specific thing, but you don't know what that specific thing is. So you think you're taking an analgesic of some kind, but it turns out all that it actually does is don't know, what could it do? I really don't know, I can't think of a thing, but it does something else, right? And then the sensation, because you're becoming more vigilant and at noticing what it does to your body, you notice whatever the thing is that it does, and you interpret that as the drug being efficacious. And if it's being efficacious, and you've been told that drug acts as an analgesic, then you see it doing something, and you assume, oh, that must be... So one, you're seeing that you've taken a drug, something's changed, so you think the drug works. And two, you think the drug does it. The thing that you think the drug is meant to do is whatever you think the drug is meant to do, so you think the drug does that thing because it's working. right? Even though that's not logically rigorous, but we're not. Could antidepressants have a similar effect? If people didn't know they were taking them for depression, but something else, would they seem to remedy the something else and not have any effect on depression? So yeah, just a little idea there. And it probably has a word name. But I just thought I'd put it out there. Yeah. Okay, really bumbled my way through this one, didn't I? Let's see if there's anything I can think about that needs to be talked about here. Really important. I do need to come up with some... I thought about... I keep thinking about doing the Sherlock thing. Well, just writing some of the Sherlock thing, but... I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. I need some kind of thing. The thing was going to be the book, but that didn't really get very far. I really do think... And part of the loving kindness meditation thing would be to become happy that... I am kind of happy that Yo has written the book, right? So I wonder... So there is a slight difference between when someone else is doing something really does impact the what it would be like for you to do it. So if someone has a baby, then that doesn't really affect your ability to have a baby much. So you can be happy for that person quite easily. But if someone writes a book that is almost identical to your book that you were going to write, and really, let's say we were further down the line and I was about to write the conclusion of my book and he released his and it got all the traction and everything, then it would be hard to... Well, I don't doubt that you can feel happy for him then, but it would feel like it would actually impact thing of your book. And I know it shouldn't be all about how successful your book is, but it's more that you were writing that book to be helpful. And well, I guess it's kind of does come some... Anyway, the helpfulness of that book is like you've just wasted your time. Okay, there we go. And now I can't waste my time. So I guess that's one way of looking good at it. Yeah, nice. See, I should clearly be a person who writes books. Okay, done.